Hello friends, I Amit Trivedi, an SS professor who teaches you history, political science and geography. Okay friends, moving ahead with the notable scholars in Europe. There can be 2 marks flowchart also they can ask you in the exam. Example I am showing you on the screen right now, notable scholars. Okay, so please understand properly. Right now, before starting this, proceeding further, I'm going to tell you the names of the notable scholars and then I'm going to individually explain each and every person's thoughts and informations. Okay, the very first is René Descartes, second, Voltaire, third, George William Frederick Hegel, fourth, Leopold von Ranke, fifth, Karl Marx, and the last is sixth one, Michael Foucault. If it is for 2 marks, then you can write any 4 names. Okay, so let's start with the very first, René Descartes. René Descartes was from the France. He was born on 1596 and died in the year 1650. The book which he has written, the book or the work what he is famous, is Discourse on the Method. Thoughts and information what he has shared. Number 1, it is important to verify the reliability of the historical sources, especially historical documents, by critical examination. Say never to believe anything if you don't examine. You have to examine, just not examine, but critical examine, so that no doubt should be remain. Second point will clear more better, that never to accept anything as true till all the grounds of doubts are excluded. That means you should research in such a way, examine in such a way that there should be no single doubt. It should be 100% acceptable or rejected. You cannot say maybe. It has to be. Whatever you have researched, whatever information you are sharing should be 100% authentic. If it is not 100%, if it is not 10%, don't further forward. You go on doing the detailed investigation, research, and then you come out with your answer. So René Descartes' simple means that never to accept anything as true till all the grounds of doubts are excluded. A very important sentence. We should also keep this in mind, and this is going to help us in all the field in which we are. Now moving towards the second notable scholar in Europe, that is Voltaire. See, in the English pronunciation we say Voltaire, USA also we say Voltaire, but in French pronunciation we say Voltaire. His original name was Francois Marot, and the thoughts what he has shared, he was also from France. The thought which he has shared, that first point, he opened that in the historiography, the focus should not only on objective truth or chronology of the historical events. He simply explained that it is not the order in which you should follow. There are other factors as well. When you follow the history, when you do the historical writing, research and critical analysis, you have to understand the other thing as well, which is mentioned in second point. Prevalent social traditions, trade, economy, agriculture should also be considered as an important part of it. It is not only about the person on which we are doing any kind of research work. There are also associated things. We should also research on that thing as well, like agriculture and economy of that particular time or era. Third point, understanding all the aspects of the human life is important for history's writing. History writing is not about the person or a single individual person or a king or the war. We should also understand that all the aspects of human life should be included in this. And point number 4 in Voltaire, he is known as a founder of the modern historiography. This can be asked in the fill in the blanks also, or in the wrong pair. He is known as a founder of the modern historiography. Founder. Okay. So moving ahead with the third notable scholar, that is George William Friedrich Hegel. He was born in the year 1770 and died in the year 1831. He was from Germany. And the famous book and the work of George William Friedrich Hegel is Encyclopedia of Philosophical Science and Research. Second one is The Reason in History. His thoughts and information are as follows. Number one, historical reality should be presented in a logical manner. See, history cannot be random. It has to be order-wise. Second, the order of the historical events are indicative of progress. History should be about the progress of the people and mankind. Third, over a period of time, the presentation of the history will definitely change as new evidences will come forth. See, you cannot have only same to same theory always. Improvisation will be always there. I can give a very simple example of your cellular phone. Right now, the smartphone, what you are using it. Think not more than 10 years back, there was no smartphone. 15 years back, 20 years back, there was no mobile. 30, 40 years back, there was no such sign of developing such mobile. There were telephones and trunk calls, right? So slow and steady, the improvisation always there. And now we are not only restricted to the mobile or smartphone. There are much more ahead of this, right? Moving ahead with the fourth point. In order to understand the true nature of the things, one need to know about the sides, both the sides, true and false or good or bad. See, you just cannot say, okay, I will be sticking only to one side of the thing. As per me, it is true, or as per me, it is false. You have to understand both the side. Analyzing of both the sides is very essential. Number 5, this method of analyzing, which is based on the opposites, is known as dialectics. See, it's basically a kind of a methodology which explains us that opposite ideas always exist, which is called as dialectics. Next, in this theory, first a theory is proposed. That means any thought is released first. This is called thesis. And then always the contrary thoughts are always released after it, which is called antithesis. Like example, virus. Always there is first a virus and then the antivirus comes. Right? So first the thought comes, the thesis comes, and then the antithesis comes. Finally, after through discussions on both the sides, both the ends, we get a gist that there is always a mixture of both the thesis and antithesis, that is called synthesis. So, George William Friedrich Hegel was one of the great proponents. He was a professor, and his notes and the theories and thesis what he has shared with the students was assembled together and formed a book which is rightly called as encyclopedia. Right? Moving ahead with the fourth notable scholar, that is Leopold von Ranke. Leopold von Ranke was born in the year 1795 and died in the year 1886. He was from Germany, and the famous book and the work is The Theory and the Practice of History, and second is The Secret of World History. His thoughts and informations are, he gave a lot of importance to the informations gathered through the original documents. He used to always say that whenever you are writing the history or researching, it should be from the original documents. He also stated that all type of documents related with the historical event should be examined minutely with great care. See, always the research should be in a great care. You just cannot think that whatever I am thinking and whatever research work I am doing it and whatever samples I have taken is the only thing. You have to understand there are several ways, as well as with a great care you have to utilize those informations and documents. He believed that it was possible to research the historical truth with this method. He criticized the imaginative narratives of the historical events. He used to always say that imagination is not the true fact to understand the history. He influenced the historical writing of the 19th century. So he was a great influencer as well. Next, one of the great notable scholars is Karl Marx, who was born in the year 1818 and died in the year 1883. He was from Germany and has written the very famous book Das Kapital. In 1848, with his friend, he has written this book, Das Kapital, which is also called as Communist Manifesto. And this book is very popular, highly acclaimed book in the world. So his thoughts and informations are, history is not about abstract ideas but about the living peoples. Human relationships are formed not only by the fundamental needs of the people and the ownership, but also by the prevalent means of the production to meet these needs. See, human being is in a need. So when I say the need, that means we are always related to some kind of receiving something. We are always eager to get something. So let's make an example over here. Okay, if there is a rich and there is a poor, so tell me, okay, more concerned towards the basic need, who will be more concerned, rich or poor? Definitely both will be in need of basic needs, but more and more dedicatedly who can relate to it, definitely it's poor. Why? Because he is facing that situations. So as per Karl Marx, he says that society has two class of peoples. So he always said the class which owns the means of production exploits the rest of the class. That means he was in a mind, he has explained one thing through his mindset, that rich exploits the poor. He used to say that there are two type of people in the society, one who is having everything and second who is not having everything. The person who is having everything is called haves, and the person who is not having anything or limited is called as have-nots. So he says that if the have-nots take over the society, that means the communist, that means the people, government, and not the capitalist, that is private owners. If the public take the ownership, if the public takes the control over the governance, then that country's governance can grow faster as per his thought. This is called communist thought and not the capitalist, because capitalist relates with the profit earning and the individual development. Yes, so the uneven distribution of means of productions in the society leads to the class struggle. So he used to always believe that there is always a class struggle, yes, between the rich and the poor. Okay, moving ahead with the very important one and the last notable scholar in the Europe which is given in this chapter is Michel Foucault. Michel Foucault was born in the year 1926 and died in the year 1984. He was from France and has written a very interesting book named as The Archaeology of Knowledge. His thoughts and informations are, to present the history in chronological order is not right. He used to say that only through order you cannot get a total track of the history. The objective of archaeology is not to reach ultimate historical truth, but to explain the various transitions in the past. See, understand the word transition. There is always a change. There is always a reason to change. So he was in belief that there should be an archaeology of research. You should go deeper and deeper into the thoughts and research so that you can come to know the various levels and the slab where the things are being changed. What were the connecting factors that has made history, and which were the new twists and turns that has made a new platforms and brought out a new history. So he acknowledged that the subjects such as science of medicine, psychological disorder, prisons, administrations are valid for the historical analysis. He used to always say that there should be an archaeology of knowledge. Go into the deep, relate to the things, go on researching to the circumferences, keeping something in mid, and go on connecting your dots so that you can make a true picture. So these were the 6 notable scholars from the chapter, lesson number 1, historiography development in the West. Okay friends, this all are very important. Okay, so please understand properly, and if any doubts, do share in the comment box. Okay, thank you.